Hi friends, and welcome back to Project 750 Li. In this episode, we're going to focus on the interior, starting with some small fixes and then working our way up to a full interior swap from black to saddle brown. Let's go ahead and pick up with some small changes to the center console. Today, we will be working on this control panel for the F-02. This is a 7 series. Not sure what you would call this. It's got the parking assist, the camera. Don't know what this feature is, so we're going to see if we can find out and code it. Comfort sport modes and DTC off, I think that's what it is. Traction control, if I'm not mistaken. Here's the part number. Overall, looks in good condition. Just want to take it apart and start cleaning it before I put it in the car. To be candid, I could just clean the surface and put it in. This is more out of my own curiosity of pulling it apart before it goes in. All right, let's get started. Folks, in the spirit of full transparency, I admit that I made a mistake with this part. In my excitement, I did not do my homework, and I bought this part thinking I could simply code in the new function, when in fact it is for models with the xDrive feature only. As we'll see later in this video, this is not the only time where I let excitement get the better of me, and just a reminder, we should always do our homework before we jump in and start throwing parts at a car. Clips. Got 1, 2... That looks like it was enough. All right. Yep, so that comes off. Keep this all in order. There's the control board. It's like a rubber piece. It's held on by 3 plastic dowel pins. 3 plastic dowels. There, right there, right there, and right there. That looks to be it. So we should be able to pop these out. Let's see. There we go. The other one looks like that's held on just by a little rocker there. There we go. So that is out. There is that button. Let's see. Looks like this has to go in a certain way. Yeah, so it's going to have to go that way. So we'll keep those there. Little Famunga cheese under there. There we go. That guy. Put a little pressure and slide. There we go. Number 2. Let's see if we can do the number 3 as well. Yeah, that's 1. And there we are. Okay. There's that guy. And lastly, looks like this guy has 2 tabs at the top. There we go. All right, that guy's out. I don't like those sounds. Looks like that chrome bit comes off. Not sure if I really want to do that. Let's just see what's up. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, sure enough. The little trim comes out. I guess these pop off, right? Yep, sure enough. There they are. There's 1 and 2. All right, I'm content with that. So let's start cleaning. We're not going to touch this. Set this aside. Everything else is fair game. And why do I do this? Just because I'm curious, that's all. I do like knowing that the unit is clean, that I've kind of touched everything. I don't feel like it's got other people's boogers and germs and stuff all over it, since I did buy this used. But mostly it's just because I enjoy it. That's it. And if you're wondering if I'm OCD, absolutely. Proudly so. Proudly so. All right, we'll go rinse these off and I will be back. So this one we can see does not look all that impressive. It's got a lot of scratches. This probably needs a polish. Maybe I'll see if I can do a quick hand polish on it. Here's what we're going to use. Meguiar's polishing compound. Well, I didn't expect much, and in that sense, I am not let down. It's a little bit cleaner, but no real difference. So we're going to call that one good enough. We said T8, right? Correctamundo. And just gonna tighten until it bottoms out. That's it. All back together. I'll have to wait for the before and after, but nothing else, it feels cleaner. It may look the same, but now we know that everything's clean inside and out. And we can pop this in the car. Now it's time to swap out the old one with the new one. So as far as this part, it is just two T30 screws. I believe they're T30. All right, and this just slides out. That's what these 3 clips are for. Here's our recently cleaned part. That's it. Just snug. It's plastic after all. So there we are. Now it's ready to go back in the car. All right, so here we are back in the car. New part is back in. And as I mentioned before, to remove this this entire piece, it's very simple. Just simply pull up on this. You don't even need a tool. And then that reveals there are 2 T30 or T25 screws right there. And then just 4 pressure clips to pop it out. And then the 3 connectors that we already saw. And you're in business. So let's turn it on, see how it looks. Let's see, parking. Yep, camera. This isn't coded, so I don't expect it to do anything. And the light's not coming on. Let's see the modes. Comfort Plus, Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus. So all of that is working. And then I think this is traction control. Let's see. With everything working for the moment, we're ready to move on to the next project. Next up, let's address the rear passenger window shade. If you recall from the first video, the window shade isn't working. Let's take it apart to find out what's going on. Quick update on the rear window shade. I got this out of the car, and I think I already see the problem. I think there's supposed to be a thread here, keeping some tension on that. If we look to this side, you see that. It appears that that has been compromised over here. So it may not be the shade itself, although I do see this pen looks bent, and the replacement one, well, maybe bent as well, but we shall see. As far as getting this off of the car, fairly straightforward. There are a handful of T30s along the bottom of the frame here. Then there are 2 T20s there. And lastly, there are 3 T20s that go inside the track. And oh look, I think I saw, oh yeah, look at that. So Houston, we may have a problem, but we shall see. But anyway, those are the 3 screws, 3 T20s there, 2 T20s at the top and the bottom for the rear quarter panel, then a handful of T30s along the bottom. I'm sure it's going to be interesting to get those back in, but we'll deal with that when we get there. So for the time being, let's see if we can figure out what's going on with this broken string. After several unsuccessful attempts to repair the string, I decided to buy a used replacement window shade to keep things moving along. So here's a better look. Everything is in place. Excellent. So everything's intact. This actually looks in better condition than mine, so that's awesome. Everything's legit here as well. This looks a bit wonky. That should not be that way. We may have a problem there. That should not have come out of that. We may have an issue there. I will keep you posted, but so far feeling optimistic. The original motor's still in my car, so maybe I'll use that since this popped out. Super duper. All right, folks, so here's the plan. This is the original screen for the passenger side that was with the car, and the issue came down to this cable. See the two parts, it snapped, and therefore it was not pulling up one side of the sunshade. And I bought a similar size cord and routed it, as you can see here, and tried to figure out how to wrap it. In the end, I got frustrated, not sure that I have the right length of rope, and then in addition, the small window part down here started giving me issues. The plan is I found a used one on eBay in good condition that appears to be in working order. We're going to pop that in, test it out, and if it's working, then I'll just break this down into smaller parts and sell the pieces that are still good on eBay. And all right, here's a look at what we've got so far. Got the 3 screws back in on this piece. These are T25, 2 T20, and then I think 5 T30s along the bottom. These I haven't tightened, these I have, so that there's tension for the shade. And I'm not going to tighten these until I've had a chance to test this to make sure it's working. The part that I'm a little uncertain about is I'm using the original motor with the cable. I had to do a little finagling to put these two together, and that's why I have some doubts. We're going to test that before we go any further. So specifically, the issue was, you can see that brace is held on by compression to the cable, and this, you can see if it's square threaded screw that goes into this plastic piece that has ridges that I think the motor turns. So this just slides on like that. And on the new one, this part slipped off. Not too worried about that, but I want to make sure that I attach the new cable to the old motor. I don't know if it's particular about its position or if I can just use it from wherever it is. So let's give that a go right now. And one thing I can point out is, even though I don't have the door card back on, there is power to the motor, or at least in theory there should be. And then there's a connector that will go from the window or the door control to the motor, but this side is still functional. So if I turn on the ignition, I should be able to test the shade using the driver's side door to see if this works. All right, here we go. All right, first test was a failure. So let's see if we need to connect the door card, or at least the control. If not, then it's time to panic. See if we can get away with just the control. We have the door card attached, or at least the control unit. Let's see if it works now. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Would you look at that? We have success. And it retracts as well. All right, so second test was successful. And the trick was, we did have to have the door card attached, or at least just the connector for the door control. It didn't work without it, so now we know that it works. We can continue and put everything back together. I'll tell you what, that little bit of success is enough encouragement to carry on in this heat. So let's get going. on, fully assembled. Oh, it's beautiful. Finally, how this should be. All right, job well done. Next up, let's tackle this noisy blower motor. One correction, we're not changing the blower motor, just the cover. And what I suspect is that this filtered part has been destroyed and allowed debris to come in, and that's what's making the noise. So we're going to try and pop this out and replace it with the new piece. And it looks like they're just 4 screws that are holding it in. Those look like T27s, give or take. We'll figure out if we can get to this very quickly. The blower motor is under this panel piece right here, this cowl piece. I'm looking at this correctly. I think we can get by just with popping this out and pulling this off to the side. I don't think we have to take this piece off, but we will see. Sure enough. All right, so this piece of the cowl is out. Oh boy, what is this shit? All right, the cowl came off very easily. Didn't need to remove this piece or the weather stripping here, but unexpected. I did not expect to find this little plate here. Looks like it has some connections. And if I'm looking at this correctly, there's just this one screw holding it. So I'm thinking I can take that out and just flip this over to the side. Let's see if that's true. See if I can slide it backwards. That appeared to work. Let's see. Will that be enough? Coincidentally, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and take this brace out. I think we're definitely going to need this out of the way. They are the same length. All right. That'll take a little finagling to get back. Should be able to disconnect this now. Yep. Set that to the side. And pull this guy out. And there we are. There's our prize. And as expected, the filter is gone. Probably hit this with a vacuum really quick. What do you think? With the filter out of the way, I took the opportunity to remove the top portion of the blower motor assembly and give it a good vacuum inside. With that done, we're ready to reassemble. All right, so we will need to transfer the sensor over. That is connected by, looks like there's a metal tab, some sort of spring that's holding it in. We need to pull that out and transfer that over to the new unit. Here's the sensor out. Looks like it's just plastic, so be careful. Just a little clip that you need to squeeze and then pull it out, and we're going to pop it into the new one. So here's the new piece. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Yeah, that was it. I didn't hear a positive click, but it is on there. Now we can put this new unit in. Oh, that looks grody. Grody to the max. Okay. That looks good. Next, I replaced the 2 cabin air filters, which in turn revealed even more debris. And also some pretty nasty filters. With those 2 small fixes knocked out, the blower motor is now strong and quiet, with no rumbling from debris like before. But we're not done yet. Today we're going to replace the blower motor of this blower motor assembly. Here you can see we have the blower motor assembly, and unfortunately the motor itself has gone bad. can see this cable, you can see this cable right here correlates to this cable, so we're going to need to disassemble this unit, pop out the motor, put in the new motor, and then return it to the car. Here is the new motor. I'll put the part number up on the screen. You can see it's pretty straightforward, just one plug. We do have these looks like 3 clips or 3 cushions that I guess will go there, but we'll see when we pull this apart. So it looks like we got to take the top off first and then split the side. Here's the original motor. Take note, you can see the tabs for those 3 pads already. So it looks like we'll be replacing those as well. So it's just 4 T20s, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and disconnect this. Let's see. Here we go. All right, here we are, ready to go back in. I'm happy to report that with that final fix, the AC is now working correctly and quietly, just like it should. As much as I enjoy tinkering on cars, nothing beats travel. My wife and I took a week and visited the beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. If you have the chance, I highly recommend it. ¿Qué tal estás? ¿Qué tal la vista por allá? Sí, unas fotos. On to the interior swap. So I happened upon this set of saddle brown leather front and rear seats for $750i and $750li on eBay for $350 shipped. So I thought, why not? So I loaded them up into the back of the Xterra and then headed back to Richmond. Upon inspection, I found the seats were dusty, dirty, and damaged. In other words, I hit the trifecta. The seats were fully functional and the leather was in good condition, but unfortunately, when the seller packaged them up, they did so in a way that left indentations in the leather. We'll address this in the future, but for now, we'll turn our attention to cleaning the seats. I'm using Colorlock's mild leather cleaner to start. See what we're working with here. I think we're going to need some degreaser. This is not doing the trick. Let's give it a second. Alright, it's definitely a nice finish, but it did not get the grease. So let's try a little bit of degreaser and then we'll come back with the Strong-Lok leather cleaner. All right, we're gonna try Purple Power degreaser. Yeah, that seems to be doing the trick. I don't really like using degreaser on leather, so we're gonna go over this again with Colorlock Strong Cleaner right afterward. There we go. Much better. All right, let's do another pass. Because I'm gonna hit the whole seat now that we know it works, and then we'll do the cleaning. Here are the results after going over just with all-purpose cleaner / degreaser. And again, we use Purple Power, but you can see leather looks pretty good. Now, obviously it didn't fix the indentations, and we said we're gonna deal with that later. We're just trying to clean this and get it ready to go in the car. And I'm impressed thus far. All right, so again, we used Purple Power, but the degreaser worked. So good stuff. Use it with caution, use it sparingly. And now we're gonna go back over with the Colorlock Strong Cleaner just to make sure that the leather itself is okay. I don't wanna leave the APC on there, even though we wiped it down. So here's a look at the seats after the cleaning. I'm very happy with the results. The APC was absolutely necessary to get out the tougher grease, the tougher stains, and then finishing up with Color-Lock's strong leather cleaner left a nice matte finish. Of course, we still have some issues to resolve with the seats where the way that they were packaged left impressions in the leather. We will tackle that in the future, but for now we're going to put these seats in the car. Editor's note, I bought pre-LCI seats for an LCI model only to find out that they do not physically fit. More on that later. Now let's go back to the car. Alright, we're going to keep going with a test fit of the rear seats. So you can see we've got the bench laying out on the sidewalk. No concerns about that, even though it's pre-LCI. But the bigger concern is test fitting the back. I don't anticipate any issues, but since we ran into problems with the front seats being pre-LCI, I just want to throw these in the car and make sure that we at least don't have any issues in the back. If they fit, we'll see. I may just leave them in as I want to start working on the interior swap, but if there are any issues or if I get a wild hair on my ass, I'll just pull them out and put the black ones back in. Let's get to it. Dog hairs. No surprise. Alright, so at a glance, it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see what's up. So here are the two. We'll put those right there. So now let's try again. See if lifting up is the key. Yes, it is. Let's get this seatbolt out of the way. They're doing it. That thing is out, baby. All right, the back seat is out. It was just 4 bolts. And I need to pull up because they're on each side. It's clipped into that. And apart from that, very straightforward. I think we can get this seat bolt out of the way, seat belt rather. And that's it. All right, so after a short interruption to say hi to the missus, let's put the new seat in. Oh yeah. Whew. This will definitely be easier if you have 2 people. Let's remember to get that seat belt. I feel like I'm just wiggling one side and then the other. So I think we need a different approach. Sure enough, it does. There we go. Test fit, the rear of the bench is in. You can see we've got 1 bolt, then back behind this, I'll show you on the black one, we have 2, and down there is the 4th. And then again, there are 2 clips on the back. Let's take a look at those. So here's the black set. Here's one of the hooks. Here's the other. And then the 2 screws go in right here. Well, if we want to see that from the front, whoops. So the 2 bolts, as it were, one goes there, the other goes there. All right, let's get the bench bottom in and we'll call the test fit successful. All right, so here's our test fit of the rear seat, and both of them fit without any issue. Of course, just to be clear, I didn't hook up the heated rear seats because I haven't run the wiring for that yet, but everything fits with the existing hardware, so that's a win. And I'd say it looks pretty good. I like the change. I like it a lot. After a quick break to take some sun, we resume with the test fit of the new LCI front seats. So a quick update on the seats. As I mentioned before, I initially purchased the package of LCI front and back seats. The back seats were not an issue, but what I found is the pre-LCI seats are too wide for the LCI models, meaning that the spacing of the rails on the bottom are actually wider, and would mean that I would have to cut the carpet and drill a new hole to put the bolts in. After some debate, I decided this was a route I did not want to go, and it ended up shopping around for and finding a pair of LCI front seats. Now, these seats were not in as good condition as the previous set, which is unfortunate, but I was able to clean them up a good bit. The driver's side unfortunately has the most wear, but I can live with that since I'll be the one using the car. The other item is now I have to offload the pre-LCI seats that I purchased to recoup some of the additional expense in this second set. So now we'll take a look at how those are in the car and talk about some of the issues that I found when I was installing them. So one thing I will point out is new seats are plug and play in the sense that you can just connect them and all of the seats functionality will work, as you can see here. The only issue that I found is the seat has, let's call it a control module that is coded to the car, and although the seats do work, there was an error message in the codes and also displaying on the dash that related to that seat module, so I ended up having to take the seats out, swapping the control modules, and then putting them back in. The front seats are held in by 4 T50s and also 1 T50 for the seat belt. So to remove the seats, first adjust them to expose the bolts, remove the 2 bolts in the back, then the 2 bolts in the front and the seat belt bolt. You'll then be able to tilt the chair back to expose the wiring harness. Here's a look under the seat. You can see I've got it tilted back. What we need to do is unplug this guy right here. I think I can do it one-handed. I'll just show you. It's one of these types where you just need to press down on this, slide this forward. And of course the bracket is broken, but I feel confident. Look at that, one-handed. Almost, there we go. Now we are. Now we just need to pull this guy out. I think I can do it without a flathead. Nope, let me get a flathead. So this guy's out now. Here's a better look at the connector. And again, you just need to push down on this to release this latch, then slide it down and you can eject it. So it's held in by this plastic clip. Just use a flathead, pry it out. Just be careful, don't break it. And that's it. Very heavy. Very heavy. So here we are. We've got the chair up on the table for ease. Here's the control unit. Here's the connector. So everything comes from here and connects to that. And there's a plastic tray right here. You can see this one is broken, which is why this won't stay in position. So now I'm going to see if I can pop this whole tray off and then replace the units with the ones from my original black seats, which are known to be in good working order. So let me tinker on this, and then if I figure it out, I'll pull back up and we can talk about how to remove that tray. Alright, let's come in for a look. So the plastic tray is out, which exposes the yellow connector, and then the, let's call that the control unit. I don't know the technical name, but basically that's the head unit where all of the functions plug into, and then the key wires from that come over to this harness connector so that it plugs into the car. But you can see there are a couple of spots that are left. I guess maybe that's for active seats, or this has heating, ventilation. I'm not sure what other feature there might be, but we've got 2 positions left. So, and I think I found the issue before I even disassembled this. As I was trying to take this tray off, I noticed that this cover and this bottom were separated. Now, I'm no mechanical engineer, but I'm pretty sure that's not how these are intended to be. So I snapped this back into place. And then, just to be candid, I'm not endorsing this method, but I basically brute force to get this out. There are, on each side, there's a little pivot here. Sorry. On each side, there's a little round nub notch, whatever you want to call it, and then this flat that sits above, and then on the actual tray itself, this is where the round connector, or sorry, the round notch goes. So I think this is a hinge. I presume it's meant to slip, but basically I just pop this out. Let me try and show you here one-handed. I popped this side out first and then put it down diagonally, and that gave me enough flex to where this tray was able to pop out. I don't think that's the right method, so I wouldn't recommend it, but I was able to get this off. Now I'm going to go to the good seats and see if I can do the same so I can get access to the connector. Before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this. I presume folks want to see that, so let's go ahead and run through. Looks like it's just 5 connectors. Sorry, 6 connectors. I didn't see this one. And I'm not too worried about organization. Should only be only one way that they could fit back in. So, but in case there's a problem, we've got it on camera. So I'll start with these. Actually, I'll start with the top ones. They're pretty easy. Just push down on that notch. It should pop right out. Oh, let's get this guy out of the way first. There we are. And this guy, there we are. Now these 4, I think they would press down. Yep, there we go. See, all kind of clicked. This first one. Second one. Third one. I'm being very gentle, folks, before you kill me in the comments. There we are. Alright, control unit is out. So this is what I'm talking about. This control unit was out of its cover. So all I did is just pop it back in. And I was able to pull this apart by hand without much effort. So maybe that's what happened. I'm not sure. We're going to go ahead and clean that. That guy's nasty. Just going to use a little all-purpose cleaner, a little degreaser. If you hear me sighing a lot, it's because it's 93 degrees today, so it's a little warm outside. I apologize for nothing, because it's hot as shit. I apologize for nothing. Working on this reminds me of my E90 days, where I had to de-pin one of these guys. Slide it out this way, but we're not going to do that on this project. Not if we don't have to. It looks better. It's not perfect, but it looks much better. But hey, while we're here, we got a little schmoo happening right there. So we'll just hit that with some APC real quick and bump the camera. It's always good. Other than that, it looks pretty good underneath. So we'll leave it there. Since we have the camera on, I'll give an update on this unit. I'm still going to pop the one off of the black seats. So I thought even if this was pulled out, there's nothing it's connected to here, so that shouldn't have been an issue per se. Alright, got the 2 units out, and at first glance they look identical. Just compare numbers. So at a glance, 61, 35, 9, 291 versus 369.901. Okay, serial number. Oh, they have serial numbers. Interesting. So I wonder if it has to be programmed to the car, and I wonder if that's why there's an issue. Here's the tray from the black seat. As you can see, this portion is intact so that we can clip in the connector. So I'm going to go give this a quick clean, pop this back on, and we'll pick back up there. Alright folks, so we've cleaned up this little plastic bracket. And again, this is the one from the black seat, so this portion that retains this clip is intact. And then we've got the control unit from the black seats, which are original to the car. So let's see if using this resolves that issue with the airbag. Alrighty, numero uno. That's you and you. So everything's back in place. Good connections. Now we can reinsert it. Now we can adjust this. This guy slides up. I think you go right there, right? Alright, I do need to pause because I need two little rubber washers. So here are the two little rubber washers. Let's see if we can get this back in without breaking the plastic bracket. No, from the bottom. Okay. Well, let's give it a quick glance. We're good there. We're good there. Alrighty, folks. We are back in business. It wasn't pretty. It took about 8 minutes until I figured out the right approach. Basically, I waited to connect this and push this control unit into place until this was back in. That just gave me a little more flex in the middle, and I had to come in diagonally and then put it that way, and at the end I actually had to use a small screwdriver just to pry this apart to push this down. But now you can see that that is back in place. So you can see that that's clipped in. That's good to go. Alright, since I have the seat out, I'm going to try and clean it just a little bit and then put it back in and test it. We're back in the car. We've got the driver's side air and passenger side air. So what I'm going to do is use this little Foxwell unit to go ahead and clean the codes, turn off the car, restart it, and see if at least the passenger system warning doesn't come back. So let's go ahead and clear those. Codes cleared. Okay. We'll read codes. System pass. Alright, so that's cleared. If we look up on the dash, now the only message that we have is that the door is open. So if I close the door, that's good. And then we'll come over here and go down to vehicle info, vehicle status. We'll check control messages, and all good. So let me turn the AC on because it's getting hot. So that's that. The test fit is now successful. So it turns out we had to swap the control units. So we're good to go and proceed with the interior swap. Friends, we have a lot of parts to work through, so let's go ahead and get started. My OCD got the best of me, and I couldn't leave the parts disorganized. So even though we're doing a quick job, I still wanted to lay everything out more or less in the order in which it's going to go back in. Now, what you might or might not be able to tell is we're going to have to use some of the components that are already in the car. So for example, the actual glove box, we have the lid, but the glove box itself we'll have to reuse from my car. Same with certain parts of the center console. Rear climate control, we'll have to use that unit as well. But this is where we are so far, so now I'm going to start pulling things out. Friends, there we are. That's several hours of hard work condensed down to just a few minutes. We'll now start the process of putting in the new interior. It is 5 after 6, so it's time to walk the dogs, pick up, and get ready for tomorrow. Thank you everybody that hung in this far. I know this was a long video and I hope you enjoyed it. Here's a sneak preview of how the car looks with the door cards on. They presented their own unique challenge, so we'll have to address those in a separate episode since this one's already running over an hour. I'm really pleased with how the interior came out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for episode 4. Take care, friends. That's cool. Pay no attention to the check engine light.